All right, what's good, Super Truckers? Thanks for tuning in to the Super Trucker Podcast live every Thursday at 2 p.m. We got some special guests today. We got Christian as usual. Nothing special about that.
Thanks,
but,
Mike.
No problem, buddy. No problem. That's what I'm here for. But we have Junior and we have Jeremy, and we're gonna talk to them a little bit, share some stories, and answer some of your questions, and kind of just talk about, again, what it takes to be successful in this owner-operator market. So, Christian.
Well, it actually is a very special day because we get an opportunity to talk to guys that are out there, boots on the ground. They're in the trenches on a daily basis. We'll kind of start with Jeremy, just to open up the mic a little bit. What do you? Now, Jeremy's a company driver at this time, very successful one at that. Just share some stories, some advice to the young blood out there who might be just getting started into this, and what is the difference? What does it take to be the top guy at a company, and as opposed to being the guy at the bottom, so to speak?
Well, when you start out in the company driver job, the main thing is when you break in is just be willing to listen to guys around you. Not the guys at the truck stop that's going to tell you stories about, you don't listen to this guy. Just do what you want to and everything's going to be all right. You got to be the kind of guy that's willing to listen, willing to get out there and put your boots on and keep the left door shut and be able to run the miles to be successful, because you're not going to make a paycheck if you ain't willing to do the work. And I've seen it time in and time again. Guys don't want to work, but they want the money, but they don't want to work. And to be successful as a company driver, you got to use that mindset that, hey, I'm going to do what I got to do to feed my family, and I'm going to do what it takes to get the money coming in and get things rolling. And
Right, because you can even probably see some owner-operators with the wrong mindset probably making less money than a company driver with the right mindset.
Yeah, they think just because they own the truck, well, it changes. I don't have to do as much now. We're getting ready to do on this new adventure. I was owner-operator once before, and I had mistakes that I made in the past. The main thing is knowing kind of how your rates is going to be working. But with you all, what I've understand, you all give good examples and everything. But what you have to do, you have to be willing to be business smart and know what I have to do to be able to maintain this kind of money that you're going to make. And if you ain't willing to put the work in, you don't need to be trying to go out and get in your own truck, because then you're just wasting money and you're wasting everybody else's time. I think the main thing is up to the individual. Like Junior here, he's going to be driving for me, and I have to trust him in the process that he's going to cover my back, and I've got to cover his back. Because if he ain't making me money, he ain't gonna make no money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a teamwork, like you guys have said on your podcast. We've watched a ton of them, and we've laughed about some. Good points, bad points.
Supertruckers.
Yeah, the super trucker. And I ain't gonna make fun of him because he's probably out there watching right now.
Yeah, he is.
But you got to trust each other. I got to trust Junior. Junior's got to trust me. We've got to trust you all, and you all got to trust us.
That's right.
We got to be up front with you. You got to be up front with me. I mean, it's a business. Everything's a business.
Absolutely.
But the new guy that's breaking in, if you ain't willing to listen to somebody, you're not going to learn nothing.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it on your own. And I've trained new guys. I was a trainer for several years at a job. And these guys come in here and they think they're just going to come in, do a little bit here, go home, and I'm going to sit home. But why ain't I making that money, man? Why ain't I making it? Well, because you're not willing to stay out there and do it. That's just the pain bottom line to it all, if you ask me.
Right. So I guess your experience as being a trainer has given you an opportunity to meet so many different individuals, so many different work ethics, and it's probably interesting, man. You keep in touch with any of these guys, like some of them that made it, and
yeah, I'm friends with a lot of them on Facebook, and sometimes they call. I mean, longer it's getting away, less I hear from them.
Right.
Which that's the way it would be with anybody. I mean, everybody gets in their comfort zone, and you don't hear much from guys no more. But the ones that's doing good, it makes me feel good when somebody calls me, say, "Hey, man, I'm doing real good now." He said, "You taught me a lot," and you get that at occasions, but. And sometimes you get the guys that you never hear from again. Right. Some of them was just out there to go see if they can meet women in other worlds and and hang around the truck stops. I had this one guy, man, he got on my nerves so bad. And some of my buddies, if they watch this, they're going to laugh. But his name was Big Tandems, and he was just worried about meeting girls out on the road, man. He wasn't worried about working or nothing, but he'd come in here and he'd be like, JW, he called me JW like this right here. And he's like, we need to do this or that. And I'm like, man, we got to work, man. I said, I ain't out here to play games all week. I'm out here. If I'm going to be gone, I want to make money while I'm gone.
He's like, I'm out here to deliver loads.
Yeah. And he'd be out here wanting to talk. He'd go to church with me on the weekends and stuff, and he'd be coming over to my church, and I'm like, man, now listen here, dude, you just can't be getting up and doing all this stuff, and you want to come over to my church and worship with me at church and stuff. I said, you got to be different, man, and he just never would get it, man. I mean, the first drop of snow we seen on the hood, oh, you got to take over, man, I can't be driving and all this stuff. You see so much stuff, man, that it just, I could tell you stories all day, but we ain't got time for all that.
But that's what makes experiences. I mean, that's the reality to everything that's out here, right? It's this business is, I've said it before, it's a people business, and it's having the right mindset to make an individual successful. So,
right.
So that's pretty good. We appreciate you sharing those stories of guys that you've dealt with before in the past. I mean, hopefully there's guys out there that are thinking about becoming owner-operators, or even you're currently a company driver, and you can't seem to figure it out. You can't seem to figure out the formula. But
David said he was a weekend Christian. There's several of them out there. You know that, David.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that says they all one thing, but they don't want to live the same thing during the week.
I mean, is I guess I never thought about it. Is trucking a good way to pick up girls? Because I have a dispatcher that's single, and I mean, I could encourage him. We're gonna get a lot of phone calls now. Like,
it depends on what you're willing to pick up, man.
People think just because you're a truck driver that you're trashy. A lot of people has got that image of everybody out there.
But that's not the case.
But the thing is, you can keep your side of the fence clean if you choose to.
Yeah.
You don't have to miss some mingle and the drugs and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
It's all out there. It's just like going to Walmart. And you can pick whatever you want to on the shelf. But that don't mean that you have to buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's a separation.
I'm sure there's some more scary people at Walmart sometimes than there is at the truck stop.
Yeah. But
well, I guess that's absolutely right, because you can go anywhere, any part of the country, and if you're looking for trouble, you're going to find it.
You're going to find it.
And
that's right.
Your experience can be totally different. Just depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
So
if it's there for the taking, it's going to be for the taking. But it's a yes or no thing. If say one of these female, what do you want to call them? I don't want to use the correct term, but
we'll use politically correct term, lot lizard.
Lot lizard.
But, lot lizard.
That's respectful.
But I mean, they come when one knocks on your door. It's up to you if you want to let them in the truck.
No,
I mean, it's as plain as
yeah.
that. You don't have to do it just because the temptation's there.
Yeah.
You can say no, and my conscience eats at me if I know I'm doing something wrong. And if it hits you and you know it's wrong and you just go against it.
Well, here's the deal. For any owner operator that's out there, I mean, there's going to be temptations, distractions for everything. But anytime you're away from your family and we always say this, you got to make that time away count. And you don't need the distractions. You're out there to do one thing, work, make money. Same thing. It doesn't matter if you're in the office, if you're out in the road. You're there to make money. You're there to stay focused, and you can't lose sight of a goal. And 9 times out of 10, the only person that really messes us up from making that goal is ourselves and the things that we allowed in our life to get in our way. So it doesn't matter, like you said, if it's drugs, if it's women, if it's just anything, it doesn't matter. If it's just like, hey, I'd rather do this than that. You're out there to work, you're out there to make money, and to be a successful person and a successful business owner as an owner-operator, you have to stay focused, because there's so many ups and downs in this business. Right now, we're coming off of a nice little high for the last 2 or 3 weeks, a little rough patch in the market this week, and everybody's freaking out. Everybody's like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Well, it is what it is. We still have to we like to say, the goal is to try to thrive when other people are just trying to survive.
Right.
And what's the difference? How is that? Do I have a special magic ball? No, I have none of that. So what we do is, I believe it starts with a mindset, a business mindset, to say, look, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna make myself available, and I'm gonna do the best that I can. And at that point, it's just aligning yourself with the right people and doing the best that you can, because otherwise you get distracted. And there's enough in this life to take that time away.
If there's a budget to everything. I mean, there's a lot of guys, a lot of my personal friends I talk to on the phone every day. Every driver's got their buddies they talk to, and I tell them all the time. They make fun of me because I only bring about $40 with me on the road when I go. They're like, well, you can't live off $40. I said, well, buy you some groceries at Walmart before you take off. You got to look at that the same way as you do to be an owner-operator. You got to look at the expenses that you're going to spend. You can't just waste your money on everything. Now, I haven't done this in a while, but that's my attitude. It's going to be like, we're going to invest money. We're not in this to show a big fancy new vehicle off or whatever. I mean, I've got nice things. Everybody's got nice things. But just because you're making more don't mean that you have to spend more.
No. And if you are making more, please don't forget to reinvest into your business.
Right.
Make sure that you're reinvesting into or putting away for a rainy day, because it's not a matter of will that truck break down. It's probably more of a when and what. And you want to be able to.
You want to be ready
prepared.
for it. Yep. Yeah. And we did get corrected, guys. Don't mean to interrupt you. I'm still trying to include everybody that's on here. My wife is apparently watching. She said, "Watch it, Michael." So I'm not driving a truck. I'm good. No temptations here, so we'll clear that up. So we'll just clear that up. And then Scott said the politically correct term would be asphalt reptile. So get it straight, guys. Okay, that's so
a new one.
we cleaned that one up. And then even David shared a story. He said one time he had a driver that was in Chicago, and his wife brought something up for him or whatever, and she was like, "You think maybe you could possibly get my husband home every weekend?" And he's like, "Your husband is home every weekend." So, hey guys, do what's right, man. Stay focused. Family first. You know, that's across the board. So
yeah, I mean that's the big thing. That the wife can't trust you when you're gone. Any new driver, listen to what I'm about to say. If she can't trust you, you can't trust her.
Yeah.
If you can't trust her while she's just doing or whatever, you ain't got no trust. You ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
You know, isn't it amazing how like these things that have nothing, let's say a relationship, it doesn't really have anything to do with trucking, but it absolutely does.
Yes, sir.
Because we've seen, I won't use names, but we've actually seen somebody under this roof, unfortunately, fail because of that. Because when it comes to the day-to-day operation, I mean, they were giving them pretty good loads. However, it wasn't, he was kind of juggling two demons, if you will. Like, he's trying to tell the dispatcher that wasn't paying enough, but then it did, so he accepted the load and he's excited, and then the wife gets on the phone and, "What do you mean you're not home by Friday?" "Well, yeah, but if I'm home by Saturday, I can make this much more." And then now he's in turmoil, and you know what, that doesn't pay enough. And then all of a sudden dispatcher's like, "What do you mean? Hey, this is $3 a mile," or whatever the case may be. Like, it doesn't get any better than this. I don't know what you need anymore. What are you looking for? Right. And at the end of the day, it was that internal struggle for him where the wife was basically saying it's either the family or the truck. You got to make a decision. So they most definitely have to back you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's hard too. And it helps to have that support. We talk about that, especially for someone. We always ask, hey, give us a few of your key things that you find to be most important, and if it's finances, it's finances. If it's home time, it's home time. And then that way we're not trying to, again, make that guy that's not the guy that's more focused with home time than he is what he makes, and be like, "Oh, well, if you just stay out that one more day, we get you home Sunday, you can still do this, leave Monday afternoon." Maybe that's not good for him. Maybe he missed something to do with his kid's soccer game or baseball game or something like that, and now his animosity towards us, where we thought we were doing something good and helping, is grown because he's disappointed in the reality that, hey, man, look, this can't cost me what's at home. So I think it's always very key, guys, when you're making a decision to become an owner-operator and go OTR, make sure you have the support of your family. Yes, sir. Again, that's, talk about it. Make sure the wife understands, the kids understand, daddy's going to be gone for a while, or mom if you're a female truck driver, whatever the case may be. And just try to, with this day and age, when you guys are shut down and wheels aren't moving, take every advantage you can of FaceTime or any of these apps that allow you to talk to your kids. Right. Yeah. Don't miss that opportunity. Guys, 20 years ago didn't have that ability. It was pay phones. You're swinging in. You're waiting in line for a while.
Get your pager.
Yeah, and so now you can see your family. You can not miss those moments. I strongly, here at Voyager, we strongly believe in family. So make sure you utilize those tools to not miss any opportunities to spend time with your family, even though you're not home.
It's all a sacrifice, right? Because there's no reward without that sacrifice and grind. So you got to be out there to make some money, and it's going to take you away from your family. But I mean, you chose to get into the industry. Right. We all know what it comes with.
I've been driving since 2010. I have, and I still don't have everything the way I want it. I mean, without the sacrifice, there's no reward. Right, I'm on a schedule right now. I get home on Thursdays, and I go back to work on Saturday. Now, everybody listen to Saturday. And you're saying, "Well, I ain't going to do that." That's what the first thing that you hear from everybody that you talk to. "I'm not giving up my weekends." Well, if you got a good paying job, and it pays the bills, hey, you got to make the decision. If you want to live off nickels and dimes, or do you want to have a decent paycheck for your family? That's one of the two things you got to make that decision on.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you go do, like anybody making real kind of money out there, we like to see what they have and and the houses and the cars and all that bling bling. But at the end of the day, you know, they sacrifice for that. There's hard work. There's hard work put in there. There's time away from their families. There's, you know, but if you want to have nice things, you got to put in the work.
Put in the time, yeah. I mean, and again, it's all about just having a good relationship with your company, with your dispatcher, being able to communicate that, because, you know, at the end of the day, it needs to be the driver's choice what his home time's going to be like, and we do the best that we can to make sure that we accommodate that, whatever the circumstances may be. But again, that's always also going to be a direct, you know, the more windshield time, obviously the more effort that's put into it, the more financial gain, as we've all said. So
That's the bottom line.
So that's a good point, guys. What you guys got going next?
No, I like that topic as far as windshield time. I mean, how do you stay busy out there? I mean, reading books and this and that. How do you stay from like the mind racing towards that, you know, creating a problem to solve a problem?
Right.
That's kind of one of those human behaviors that's out
It's
there.
like if you're working with ELD, sometimes you just sit there and you watch that clock just tick. If you're on a reset, a 10-hour break, man, and it's like that last hour, and you woke up for just have to use the restroom, just anything, no natural male things, you know, and you're sitting there and you look at that clock, and you know that you're only 5 hours from home when you had to take a 10-hour break. And you sit there and you watch it, and it drags, and you're watching every minute on that clock goes by, and it just about wear you out, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, there's a grind on this, but people don't realize it unless you do it, man. I mean, this ain't your 9-to-5 job. Trucking is never going to be a 9-to-5 job or just daytime hours. It's never going to be that way. You got to be flexible. I mean, Junior can tell you stories. You are listening to some of the companies he's drove for in the past. I can let him be in on that if he wants to.
Some of the guys are chiming in, talking about passing time with Netflix, Hulu, Audible, listening to some books. You know. You know, because it does get lonely out there.
Technology out back in our day, when we had to do a 34-hour reset. I seen a lot of guys go into state of depression, away from home, didn't have nothing to do inside their truck, but just sit there and watch the clock. And now we got FaceTime, like you say, and you know we can get on there on the tablet and you know call home and see our family's face, you know, and it kind of helps out. In that state.
Yeah, and again, I think too. I mean, you mentioned it earlier with just the whole persona that drivers receive. I think so much of it's unjustified. You know, I've had the opportunity to meet hundreds of drivers, and you know, out of that, with all honesty, maybe 4 or 5 fit the bill. You know, I mean, of just rude and but most of them they're genuine nice people who are trying to better their lives for them and their family, and they're just looking for somebody to treat them with that respect.
Right.
And I think that's key for success on both parties. Between, you know, like somebody mentioned here on one of the texts back, it just said, you know, that's a driver's dream, is to have a good relationship with, you know, with their company, with their dispatcher and stuff like that. And that's really key. I mean, that's one thing I push really hard with our dispatch team. I'm like, look, you know, you talk to these people and spend more time with these people probably than you do with your family at home, and as do they also with you.
Yeah.
So why not work that relationship out where you know already that somebody's kid's birthday party is it's this week, and you already know it because you're like, hey, isn't your son's birthday this week? And you know, I just think those types of things. One of the things that we do is that sometimes a shock to people is I know drivers only by their names.
Yeah.
I do not know truck numbers, and it kills billing. Billing will reach out to me and they'll be like, 12:37, and I'm like, what, is that the time? Are we talking? Is that
that's
time?
That's a good thing, because where I work for bigger companies, it's always been what's your employee number or what's your truck number.
right.
Nobody knows anybody by name no more.
Yeah.
You're a number in a system is all you are.
That's
They don't know you.
something we definitely do. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. You can holler out a truck number, and I cannot tell you who it is. I talked to Scott. He's on here with us, and I have no idea what Scott's truck number is, but I certainly know Scott's name.
Yeah.
I know what he looks like. I know his voice if he calls me. You know what I mean? So that's one of the deals with all my drivers. I know their name. Those that I've had a chance to meet in person, I know their face. I know a little bit about each and every one of them, but I don't know their truck numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie,
But I mean,
So.
there's a lot of things you can do sitting on the road. I mean, Facebook is one thing I do a lot, and I've watched your all's podcast, and And you got to occupy yourself with good things. I mean, you can go in the casinos and spend $200 or $300, but why do that? While you're out there working, don't waste your money, guys, on these casinos.
Because then when you get out of there, you're going to make it up on the next load.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That dispatcher's gonna pay. He's like, "What? I'm not taking that load. Listen, I need at least $300 extra. Like, whoa, they're way above spot on this. What is the deal? Like, just trust me. Just give me this $300. Like, listen, this guy's coming quickly. I owe him. I need this $300 now. What have you got yourself into?
Yeah.
So you never know. Watch those peculiar situations.
Yeah, there's.
And I agree. I think that the relationships that are built creates the synergy. It's just that we're just not always in that office environment in front of you guys. You're out there, getting the miles, but that's what's gonna happen. Like, problems will happen,
Yes, sir.
and it's not that just because we have a good relationship, I can make it just go away. But we're team members, so we're gonna see through it the best way out of the situation, whatever it may be.
Right.
And that's when you really know somebody got your back, and it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's never a one-way street.
No, it's not, and then that's all you can do. Right?
That's the most misconception about truck drivers out there. Everybody thinks it's my way or the highway. Well, guess what? Dispatch don't want to hear my way or the highway, because you'll be finding the highways where you'll be finding.
Yeah, and that'll go both ways, because some
Absolutely,
dispatchers out there will say it's
Yeah.
my way or the highway, and not give that person, that owner operator or company
I
driver.
worked at a place for 8 years, and if you didn't like something, it was clean your truck out every time. Nobody wants to hear that, and I never give them a reason to say that. It was just a force of habit that they would say, a leverage tool to make somebody do something. And I finally told them, I said, listen, you don't have to threaten my job every time you tell me something to do.
Right.
If I'm not back talking or saying something, I'm gonna go do it.
Well, and I think that's created by bad experiences. So if somebody has one driver that comes in out of that 5 that I say that out of the 100, they're one of those guys, and they've given you a hard time, and now you think, hey, the only way to deal with this guy is you just got to be on him hard, and just drive it home. And so then you start to treat everybody like that. So somebody who's very compliant and saying, hey, okay, that sounds good with me, not a problem. And now you're like, well, yeah, what was that? Well, if you don't, you're oh, it's okay. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? So like you got to know your audience. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to, this is to dispatchers and to drivers. I mean, you have to be able to understand that, like, hey, this guy, maybe he needs a little more coaching than the next guy, just because maybe something happened to him. Instead of getting so aggressive and being upset about why is this guy, rejecting every load, and well, maybe it's a trust issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe he's been burned that every time he accepted the first load from a dispatcher, it put him out of business. He almost lost everything that he had. He almost lost his house while that dispatcher sits on his butt and then goes home at night and he sleeps fine, eats whatever he wants. So we forget those types of things, that sometimes they're reacting a certain way because of experiences that they had, and they're automatically taking those bad experiences, fair or not, and pushing them on somebody else and not giving you the chance. So drivers, especially when you start with a new company, give them a chance. Let them prove to you one way or the other. Maybe they are just as bad as where you were before, and maybe you will have to make another change. And sometimes that happens, but maybe they're not. And just when the first little hiccup happens, dispatchers and drivers need to make sure that they don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. We're in this together. We are a team. I always tell everybody, when you're in the mud, Junior, when you get in the mud, we're going to be in the mud with you. And we get in the mud. I'm in the mud right now out there. I'm dealing with some things, but I'm in it with them. Everybody that's in there, we're in it with them. People are joining together to help to make sure that we get out of it, whatever that outcome is. And we're 100% dedicated to make sure that we see our way through it. And it's a teamwork.
And that's a lot of the reason why, me and Jeremy decided to come here to Voyager Nation, because there's a lot of really, really big owner-operator companies out there that when you do get in the mud, they're not going to be there for you to help you get pulled out. And that's why we watched a lot of you guys' podcasts, and I said, we need to try this group out.
Yeah.
You guys seem genuine, you guys seem honest, and that's what we was looking for, a good, honest company to go to.
You're right.
That, help me make a living too, because that's what I'm doing from him. He's got to pay me to make a living.
Yeah.
And that's what.
And you guys don't come off with attitude in your podcast.
Right.
You can tell when somebody has attitude, but just by listening, you don't. We ain't never talked but 3 times or 4 times on the phone.
Right.
Yeah.
By what I've watched you guys, way you've handled situations and talk about, I can read into that. You can read a book by its cover, but when you open it up and you just step back and listen, you can tell how people are.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad that you said that, because the intention of the podcast was exactly that. I mean, to be transparent, a transparent company and whatever. And it's not a recruiting gimmick or anything like that. It's really just to put good information out there. invisible because everybody's on YouTube. I
And
mean,
several times you guys throw the numbers on the table, and that's
Yeah.
just the truth.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna do
Hey,
good a week, and we're
and
not gonna do so good one week.
I'll
you
say
know?
this too. 6 months down the road, if you want to do another one of these, I wouldn't care a bit to come on and talk to people and say, hey, these guys' words. Because like me and him was talking to parking lot. You don't want to toot your own horn about nothing. Nobody wants to. Because a lot of these guys get on here and that's all you hear is about the big, the good, the good, the good. Well, you got to have bad with the good to make it happen.
yeah.
And I'd rather hear somebody's honest opinion, just be upfront with me and just be honest. That's what I'd rather hear. I don't want to hear that we're going to make you a millionaire, because it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Are they Are they hiring? So I think Mike's watching, but I mean, he would understand. You know what I mean?
I know. I think,
I think one podcast that we're not Donald Trump. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's actually on the side of one of our trailers. It says, "How do you make $1 million in trucking?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start with 2.
Start with two.
Sorry too.
I mean, Junior drove for guys before. He had a job that he was complaining to him about the air conditioner wasn't working in the truck. He drove all last summer with no air conditioner in the truck. And he went down to their shop and was talking to, I guess, maybe the dispatcher or the people that owned it was in the same building, kind of like right here. Well, he goes in there and talks to them, and they said, all you had to do is take the vice grips and turn the knob on the dash with.
Oh, that's it.
Is that all? I mean, that makes me feel so much better, man, that you're on my side to make sure I got air conditioning because I have to use the vice grips on the knob on the dash. I mean,
And
come on,
I've been
man.
through it with driving for owner-operator. That's mostly what I've done because my dad was owner-operator. He owned 3 or 4 trucks himself, and I drove for him until he passed away. And I drove for a couple owner-operators there, and it's pretty hairy at times. Especially when they send you off a mountain with no Jake brake and no brakes period on the truck and get off the best way you can.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, but at least you had AC then, probably.
No.
No. Okay, I'm trying to find the silver lining.
No.
I mean, you may be going down, but at least you're cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
But I mean,
goodness.
it's like my brother. I don't know if you'll ever see this or not, but one of his biggest tools to gain drivers is about what the equipment looks like.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes the equipment. I mean, I've got a decent looking truck, but the thing is, that's not whatever about making money is about, or making a living for your family. It ain't about the shiny chrome and all that stuff. It's nice to have it, but at the end of the day, that shouldn't be the reason to attract somebody to make them run for a quarter a mile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Don't give up a job for a quarter a mile driving for somebody when you can go make decent money for 40 cents a mile or whatever. I mean, you got to be smart. Looking cool ain't everything, man.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's nice too, but
But a lot of places out there, they're going to use those, those that's the shiny carrot that they put in front of individuals. Hey, that brand new equipment, or those sign-on bonuses for $2,500. I think I've seen them up to $10,000. I mean,
the 20,000 here ain't bad, right? I'm just kidding.
So
Mike at the checkbook.
keeping in.
Jeremy talked about this for a really, really long time about how we was going to do it, how we was going to go about it, who we was going to go with, and
Made a plan.
Yeah, made a plan, and I found y'all's podcast on YouTube. I just got on YouTube and said, I just typed in owner operators, and it brought up y'all's podcast. I said, hey, Jeremy, you need to listen to these guys, man. So we ended up watching about every video you guys got, and I said, I believe this would be a good group to go to. We plan on going to another bigger carrier, and they got about 10,000, owner operators, and I'm pretty sure everybody can pretty much say who I'm talking about. I won't mention nobody's name or nothing like that, but I figured we'd come down here because, the other companies, when you talk to them on the phone, it ain't. You can feel in their voice that they're not telling you the truth what the rate's gonna be or what they're gonna pay, because I gotta look out for myself too,
Right.
and also be looking out for Jeremy because he's also gonna be at work, and I got a big responsibility to make sure his truck nets the proper amount of money per week, or he ain't gonna make it, and I'm not gonna make it. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's the reason we one reason we come down here too,
Yeah.
and we just feel like y'all just genuine.
Well,
Bunch of people.
and we Junior, we appreciate that honesty, and here's the deal. Here's the hard part with all this. If we said on this video, and if we're on the phone and we're misleading and we're not trustworthy, then the problem is that I've got to look at you again.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because I mean, you don't
Yeah.
just drop my trailer at some yard somewhere and I never see you again. I've got to see you again. And don't get me wrong, there will be weeks where things may be difficult and hard,
Yeah.
but we're going to push through them. And it's the numbers that we share, the things that we share, the ups and downs. I think we try to be transparent and say, look, I can tell you, I took a call the other day. Guys on the phone, of course, I want every trailer to have a truck hooked up to it out there making money. I know Christian goes through this every single day. There are so many people that we're just straightforward with and saying, I cannot do what you're asking. I don't know why you're asking what you're asking, because I find that some people feel like because of trust, they got to stretch to these numbers that don't exist. So they shoot for the stars and hope they hit the moon, okay? That's what they kind of do on these phone conversations when a driver calls in. I understand it. But I'm the guy real quick to be like, put the brakes on, brother, because I mean, like, I'll walk on the moon with you, but you're trying to get somewhere I'll never even be. And for me to tell you that I can do that, I can't do that. I mean, yeah, I'd love to have you apply. It would be wonderful, and if we could work something out, that's great. But with the limitations that you're saying and the amount of money you're needing to make, I can't do it. And for that, I'm going to just have to gracefully bow out and say thank you for the phone call. You're a wonderful person, but I'm not for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's my fault, his fault, whose fault it is, but we have an honest conversation. And I had this conversation, and the guy goes to me, he says, hey, man, I want to thank you. He goes, because you're the first person that I've talked to in all the companies that I talked to who told me you can't do that. Now, he probably still won't apply because he'll find, here's the deal, sometimes people want to believe they want to be lied to.
Yeah.
They want to be like, oh, you can make me millions? You can make me millions? Sign here. And they want that, okay?
Because it's hope.
But it's hope that it might happen. But,
That's kind of like getting an internet wife, you know? You got the dream in your head, you know, and then girlfriend's like, oh, no.
She gets,
I want that, you know?
His wife's going to be questioned after this one, too.
is that where she came from?
No.
Okay, I mean, like, I'm just asking.
No,
because I have seen that once before. Funny story, I used to sell insurance for only like 6 months. I didn't like it. And I was like, man, I was in Lithia, which is like, you know, country land, okay? And I'm out there, and this guy sits out there, and he's like, talking about buying life insurance, and he's like, I got to call my wife, and I was like, okay. He goes, you'll have to forgive me for a minute. I'm gonna speak Korean, and I'm like, okay, all right, sure you are, buddy. I'm like, you barely speak English. You're gonna speak Korean, and he's like, he gets on the phone. He's like, oh, I'm like, all right, where's the cameras? Am I being punked right now? And sure enough, that's exactly what it is. He was honest, and they've been together for like 15 years. She's a doctor here. She doesn't speak English, but you know, he said that she was highly intelligent, obviously, and he learned. He learned Korean. I was like, wow. I've always heard the joke, you know, like what you just said, but I've never seen it actually. So, you never know. Anything can work out. Some comments coming through because I don't ever want. I know we get caught up talking, but you know these guys are joining in too. So,
That's good.
Mike says, anyone who is a successful company driver or successful driver will be a successful owner operator. Ingrid says, all we can do excuse me, can't read and talk. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. That's a great statement.
Right.
Charlene says she's proud of the company, and she knows from experience how well they treat the drivers and their personnel inside. So the ingredient for a perfect relationship between a driver, owner, operator, and a dispatcher is integrity. I would agree with that because if we start off our relationship on sand, I'm sure you boys know what I'm talking about. You know, you build your house on sand, it is going to fall, and any relationship that is built on lies is going to crumble when the waves and the wind come. But if you build it on a solid foundation, a solid rock, and you build your house on that, it will stand the storms. The storms are coming no matter what. In trucking, we're going to have storms. Right. It's like the old parable. It's about where you build your house at. And to build your house with integrity and truth, that's building it on the solid rock in this relationship. Starting off out the gate with lies, like you're just building on sand, and you're done for.
Just like in the Word of God.
So.
Yeah, that's exactly what I told Jeremy. I like that statement you made about building on the sand because foundation, everybody to be successful. I will dispatcher back there. I just kind of see the reaction, but what you can say, we got to trust the process.
Yeah.
Real then except what we build for ourselves as far as the relationship we can have with each other.
Right.
Just like Mike said, we'll burn the midnight oil to get you out of a situation. We'll get you a load. I can't tell you what that load is. I can't promise you it's going to be $3 a mile or some crazy number like that. But we're going to get you in a position where the next day or whatever the scenario brings, that tomorrow we're in a better position to try to recover that week and end up where we should end up anyway. So it's really about that, and kind of spinning off of what these guys want to net. I mean, we have guys from, let's say, Jacksonville running intermodal, wanting to make a crazy number of netting $3,000 home every other night. I mean, that's just not going to happen. And the more you call around places and they can't have it, they can't have it. I wish that individual could understand that it's not that they can't do that for him because they don't have the right account to do that for him. It's because it doesn't exist.
Right.
Like, you know, unless somebody out there is doing it, and by please chime in, let us know, and school us on something.
Yeah,
I'm willing to learn. And
Right,
if I can do that for people,
you're
I will.
going to come across that company that's going to say, yes, we can do that for you. So, I mean, that's the thing. You got to watch out for the snakes in the grass, because they're definitely there, and they're definitely out to get you. Jack says, great information, guys. That's awesome. Also, we had a question. David was asking, I said, a driver of mine is looking to purchase a truck and become an owner-operator. Any advice on what's the best engine on semis? So you guys are drivers, and maybe you have some...
Well, to me, I was raised up around cats.
Yeah.
We're a cat family. Junior's dad, he runs the new PACCAR motors and a lot of this newer stuff like that.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's good and bad technology if you're going to buy. That's just my opinion. And technology, but not I'll say that. Work on stuff, kind of stick with that, because I mean, some of this older stuff. I mean, you might buy a cat motor and it's got 500,000 rebuilt on the motor. Well, you're probably going to be able to get 500,000. You're probably going to get another $500,000 on that motor before you have to touch it, as far as on the end frame. But I mean, you're going to have to maintain everything. But to me, if it's got the yellow paint, go with it. Detroit's is good motors too. I've seen good, but as far as the value of the truck when you buy it, if you got something that's got the valuable motor in it, you can get more out of it if you have to sell it later. I mean, you got to look at the pros and the cons, what you buy versus what if you have to sell it later. You know, you want to invest your money the right way. That, in my opinion, that's my opinion on it.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's hard to buy something that is just going to be a throwaway after a while. If you're going to invest your money in something, then sometimes it's best to go with like what we got was a Peterbilt or a Kenworth.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if you decide to get out of it, you can get some of your money back into that product that you bought, because Peterbilt, they hold their names.
Yeah.
And so does Kenworth, And I'm not knocking the other trucks. I drove some good Freightliner Classics. That's what my dad had, but it had a 550 cat, 13 speed in it, and 355 rears.
Mm-hmm.
And she scooted down the road.
But I mean,
It had cat product in it.
Yeah.
That says a lot right there. That when
Right.
we get a truck up, we get back just about what we put in it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of your bigger companies, they'll buy a $80,000 Freightliner, let's just say, and 5 years later, they're lucky to get $20,000 out of it. Just because the resale is not there on the value of the truck, versus if you buy like something like we bought, you can sell that back later as long as it's got the motor's been kept up. And you can't just sell junk to somebody.
No.
But if you have the paperwork, because even Christian advised that on the phone to me on the phone, he said, make sure you have motor work done, that you know this, which I already know that, but it made me feel good that he brought that out in our conversations. Get something.
Looking at it on our part too.
He was looking on, and he didn't know me from Adam, on the phone, and I'm like, well, this guy's, that's it made me feel good when you told me that.
Can you stop saying such good things about Christian?
Well, I mean,
Mike, you want to relax over there, buddy?
that's successful to anybody. You don't want to buy something a $10,000 truck to start a business with.
Well, yeah, that goes to that's the other extreme, right? We call it money makers, and like, oh, let me get something,
$8,000, and then they ain't even got a seat in it, or
right. So I think at
It's
that
a comfortable
point,
bucket, though. Very comfortable.
yeah, but I think at that point, if you got about $10,000, like, just use that as down payment. and go get something
Yeah.
something decent.
Get
that-
something that's got some value, man. I mean,
But
that's
even,
the word.
But even if you have a payment, right? The
Yeah.
idea is that's the cost of doing business, and that's
Right.
okay. It's not you
Right.
know you just got to hustle out there.
The first truck I ever bought, I paid $10,000 for, and it was a 6-wheeler. It was an International straight truck, and this was back in 2007. And I bought that thing, and I was just doing like LTL stuff in it, dock to dock, dock to dock. Well, I bought this truck for $10,000 off a guy, and I didn't really realize how bad or rough the truck was until I got a hold of it. And I had to rebuild the motor in it. I had to fix this. I had to fix that. Before you know it, I spent all this money. When I got out of the business of it, and I had a bad deal because I didn't look at my rates. I wasn't smart like I am now about it. I wasn't looking at this. Well, when I went to sell that truck, I sold it for $6,000, and it looked 20 times better and was running 20 times better than
Then
what
when
it
you
was
got
when
it.
I bought it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You got to be smart what you buy. You don't want to buy a piece of junk. It's just like if you was buying a vehicle for your daughter, her first high school car, you don't want to buy her a $1,000 car to go to drive to school and go to college on. You want to get her something that's going to be reliable. That's what you want in the same industry like this.
Yeah.
And the cat motors, they're not cheap to work on,
No.
but they're reliable. Peterbilt ain't cheap to work on. We get that, but they're reliable trucks.
Yeah.
And that's what he decides to think is money, and that's what he decides to think is money. And I think he done a good deal.
To go
with
get an
that.
in frame done on a Peterbilt truck, you're looking at $20,000. To
Yeah.
have one done at the dealership.
Mm.
So when you get started, guys, in this, make sure you have a safety net put
Yeah,
back
yeah, you
before
better
you
have
start
that
trucking.
safety
If you
net.
ain't got that safety net, you might as well just say that you're going to Walmart and picking dimes out of your pocket to pay for your food.
What
Can we say? Can we get an amen in the house on that one? So. Yeah.
What do you think is a good number for a safety net?
I think a good safety net, at least starting out, is probably having at least that you can get a hold of at least about $10,000 setting aside at first. Once you get going, I think at all times you need to have enough in there to cover a $25,000 breakdown at first, is my opinion.
My man.
Yeah.
Because if you ain't got that or have a plan to get it, it's like me and Junior, we've talked. I told myself I'm going to put back so much money a week to do this. Until we get to this, we're not buying another piece of chrome for this truck. We're not buying nothing. Till we get that safety net
Gotta get it.
in the trucking account, you don't buy nothing else. You don't go buy a car. You don't go out and buy you a bass boat. You know, you don't go out and buy these things. You got to have
Discipline.
a plan and discipline about it. Act like it's not in the bank account, man.
Yeah. And my wife, she said, "How many times you guys can talk about this truck?" I mean, where he drives at night, I'm up to like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I tell you what, we had paperwork just thrown everywhere. I did, making figures of what this truck has to make, what he has to, he come up with plans, and I write it down on paper. It didn't work out that way. I throw it away. We come up with another plan. You just gotta sit down. You gotta brainstorm what you gotta have in that account to start
Yeah.
that business.
And
You
according
got
for us
have
to reach that, you've got to be able to work for that, to do
Yeah.
that. Now, you just can't say that and it's going to happen.
Oh, that's the ever so key. You got to throw the energy on that. We say that all the time. The energy you got to put the plan into motion.
Yeah.
Because other than that, it's just a plan. Anybody
Well,
can come up with a plan.
Yeah, the Word of God says, if you ain't got a dream, you're gonna perish.
Yeah.
That means you're not going to succeed. If you ain't got a dream or a vision, you're not going to do no good at it.
No, you definitely need a goal. You definitely need a
Yeah.
plan to work that
Well, it
plan.
gives you the fire to get up in the morning and do something.
Yeah.
Because if not, you can get lost in your disappointments. If you say you didn't have the best day, say you didn't get the best load, whatever, you're not in the best area, and then all of a sudden it just starts to weigh on you. We talked about this earlier. It gets in your head, and it just eats away at you, and
Right.
it steals your joy. And then like we're all in this to make money. That's what I'm here for. That's what you're here for. That's what you're here for. That's what you're here for.
Right.
That's what most of the people that are watching are here for. And we all go about it different ways. So whatever motivates you, I strongly recommend, find that passion, find that fire to get yourself motivated, and then do everything you can to hold on to it, because there's enough things that happen in this life out there in this world while you're on the road that want to steal that passion, steal that fire, get you discouraged, get you brokenhearted. Like you said, it could be anything. Could be missing your family. It could be the this bill's due, or it could be whatever it may be. It's going to be weighing on you. But no matter what, no matter how much you worry about it, I can promise you, worry does not pay the bills. Fear doesn't pay the bills. So stay focused, stay positive. That is to me personally, that is one of the things that can be detrimental to an owner operator, especially doing OTR, because you just get out there and you start to feel on an island all alone. No one really cares. The company you're with doesn't care. Mike says the smell of diesel is what motivates me. So, like, I'm going to get him some cologne. Just like, I'm going to put diesel in a bottle and be like, here you go, Mike. Merry Christmas. He's going to be like,
it takes attitude.
So, I mean, I feel like I've got to, like, since I'm in his seat today, you know what I mean? I don't have the accent or anything
That's
going.
absolutely right.
If you ain't got the attitude.
It's attitude. It has a lot to, we spend so much time talking about the human factor of this business because attitude is key to success. I mean, there's that old saying, good guy out there, an influencer that I listen to, you are where you are because of who you are and how you operate. And then you got to take that, come up with that plan, have that attitude to win. Failure is no option. And it'll be there. At some point, you're going to break through. You're going to break through and get to your goal and meet those goals. And is adversity going to be there? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Brother Jeremy said. He said it is what it is, but we got to press through the process.
Yeah.
You can't throw your hands up and just quit.
It's just like the man that goes to church one week and he gets saved, and the next week he's doing this or that. Well, he ain't preserving in what he's claiming. So if you're not preserving, perseverance is a big thing. Patience and endurance. If you can't persevere in this business as a driver, if you ain't willing to listen to what somebody's telling, you're not going to persevere in this.
Yeah.
I mean, the attitude is everything. It has to be attitude. Yeah. I mean, I've talked to Junior so many times because I'm like, listen, if we do this, we got to be on board, and he knows that, and he knows I wasn't doubting him. It's just we kept on talking about it. I got to have his
want to
back.
emphasize it.
Yes, yeah.
Well, you need to know that he's on the same page because
Right.
if you're here and he's here, then you
not
guys
gonna work.
aren't together. So I would like to, before we tie up today, a couple more comments came in. A goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah.
So that's a good statement. My question would be though, because something you said it today and you said it several times and we talk about it a lot. Failure is not an option. What would you gentlemen define as failure? Because I think it's key that anyone that's listening or watching this later on as a repeat, that they understand that a bad day, a bad decision, a bad area, a bad raid, a bad load, an argument with a dispatcher or team member, whatever it may be, doesn't equal failure. I don't think that's failure. So, what do you think is failure in those situations? Anybody have a?
Well,
To me, failure is just the lack of willpower to give. I mean, if you're just willing to give up, if Junior's going to give up on me, driving for me, he's going to give up on something else down the road.
Yeah, I agree that the lack of will, or when you start entering that realm where it's everybody's fault. I am here because I can't pay my bills because of the industry. This because Michael did that. Because
Blaming everybody.
Yeah. Because Jeremy didn't do this, and now you're pointing fingers at everybody but yourself.
So the truth is in the mirror.
Yeah. Don't give up on yourself. You have to. Anything is possible.
We have a mirror in the men's bathroom. I don't know if you read it or not.
There's a guy I go to church with. He said the biggest battle that he has every day is the man in the mirror that he looks at. That's the one that you have to overcome.
Our mirror in there says this is a magical mirror. It has the answer to all your problems. If you don't see it, just look closer.
I did tell like,
no, it's me. It's me. You're like, who is this guy? I mean, we want to blame everybody, so I think it was. Scott says I blame Ralph. Hey, bro, listen. Everything that happens here, we blame Ralph, right? Because it's like, what do you do? But so I would say, that's good answers, guys. Because yes, failure is not the things that happen around us. It's how we react to the things that happen around us. It's that stopping. It's stopping the wheels. It's stopping the forward motion. Things are going to happen. Things are going to come your way, guys. You're going to face adversities. That's life. I can't change that. I'm not going to promise you any different. This is not even trucking. This is just straight real life. You're all going to come across things, and when you're down, you're probably going to get kicked. That's just the way life is, unfortunately. And it's usually that's when it happens. When you're at your lowest low, that's when you're going to get kicked any harder with another problem, and the tire blowout, and now you're getting it changed and everything's good. Well, now an airline's out. Now something's knocking in the motor. Look, it's going to happen. Yeah. It's what you do that determines failure. So it's how you react. It's how you stand strong. Mike says failure is when you make a decision to stop. Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now. So it's right on point, Mike. So it's the point of when you no longer continue. when the horse walks away because you didn't get back on it with it. So, you know, it will buck you, and you will try to ride again, and it will.
It's like Rocky said, it ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit.
Yeah. It ain't how hard you get hit. It's how hard you get hit and get back up. All right,
I might start it now.
So, but that's good. So why don't we end on that, guys? That's good. I appreciate Junior and Jeremy joining us. Thanks so much, guys. I wish you all the success, Junior, out there, and we would be happy to have you guys back again to kind of talk about the ups and downs and be, you know, absolutely honest, because I'm sure you're going to have some positives and I'm sure you're going to have some negatives, but let's look at those things. Nothing to hide, definitely transparent, and I hope for your sake and our sake that everything is successful. We appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your stories with us, and we appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Again, as always, every Thursday at 2 p.m. we go live with the Super Trucker Podcast. Please share, like, comment below, and thanks for everybody that participated in the comments today. All right. Anything else from you, Christian?
No, I just want to say best of luck to you guys. I think you'll be an asset to part of the family. Welcome aboard, and go get it and make some money.
Just always keep your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, number one in your life, and He'll never fail you.
All right, brothers. Appreciate it.
All right.
I think I know how to use this, but maybe not.
Alrighty.